Welcome to an exciting journey of building innovative applications in Flutter. Have you ever imagined searching for items in an app by simply drawing a circle around them? Well, get ready, because in this course we are going to turn that imagination into reality. So, we will be building a stunning gallery application in Flutter, and the highlight is implementing the cutting edge circle to search feature from scratch. Like in this image, if user want to check the price of these glasses or find similar ones, then he will gonna draw a circle around them just like this. And after that we are going to show him the results instantly. Circle to Search is introduced by Google for premium Android devices at the start of 2024. So this feature can be used only in premium Samsung and Pixel devices. But guess what? We are breaking barriers in this course. So we will be bringing this feature to life in Flutter, making it accessible for both Android and iOS users, regardless of their device. So by the end of this course, you will have your very own fully functional gallery application in Flutter equipped with Circle to Search feature. Not only that, but you will also gain the expertise to integrate this feature into your existing Flutter applications. And here is the cherry on top. So you will acquire valuable knowledge to replicate other exciting AI features in your apps effortlessly. And one important question is, who can take this course? So whether you are just stepping into the world of Flutter development or you are a seasoned Flutter professional, this course is tailor-made for you. The complete course is around 5 hours long, and it includes all source code which we write in this course. So every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose here. So what are you waiting for? Join the course now and learn to implement AI features in your Flutter applications from scratch. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just first part of my complete Build an AI Gallery application in Flutter with Circle to Search feature course. The complete course is about 4 hours long, and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion, which you can add to your resume. and the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So you got nothing to lose here. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below, and I am offering a discount to first few students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. Hello everyone and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to start building our gallery application in Flutter, and in that application, we are going to implement the exciting feature of circle to search. So let's start. So the first step is creating a new Flutter project. So open your Android Studio and here click on this new Flutter project button. After that, you need to select your Flutter SDK path, so it will be already selected. So click next, and then you need to name your project, and I will name it CTS, which stands for Circle to Search, but you can use any name that you like. And after that, you can select your project location and then click on this create button. And now our Flutter project will be created and it will be ready in just a minute. So now our new Flutter project is created, and by default it contains the default counter application, and we can confirm this thing by installing the Flutter application inside an Android emulator or inside an iOS simulator. So for now, let's install it inside an iOS simulator. So here inside this drop down, I will click on this open iOS simulator button and it will gonna launch the simulator for me, and then I will gonna select it and install the application inside that simulator. So there you can see we got the name of the simulator here, and also the simulator appeared here. So just select it and click on this run button and our application will be installed inside the simulator in just a minute. So now the application is installed inside this iOS simulator, and you can see this counter application here, and upon clicking on this button this count is increasing. And you can also confirm this thing by installing this Flutter application inside real devices or inside an Android emulator. So now after running the application, we are going to start building our gallery application. So the first part of this course is about building the gallery application, and then in the second part we are going to add that circle to search feature inside our application. So for building our gallery application, we need to fetch all the images of the device gallery and show them inside our application just like the default gallery application. And to fetch those images, we are going to use a library in Flutter, and that library is called photo gallery. So you need to open your browser and here type pub.dev. So this is the website or the repository where we can get Flutter or dot packages. And now here we are going to search for this library which is named as photo gallery. So type it and press enter. And there you can see this first result. So for now, let's minimize the simulator so that we can see it clearly. So you can see this photo gallery here, and it is the most popular library in this particular genre. So click on it and the details for this library will be opened. And the first thing which we need to do is to install the library inside our Flutter project. And to do that, click on this installing button, and there you will find the dependency for this library. So just copy this line and open our Flutter project. And here inside Android Studio, if Android is selected, select project, and now you will be able to see this pubspec.yaml file. And here in this file we are going to include that dependency inside this dependency section. So here below this icons dependency we are going to paste it, and now we are going to click on this pub-get so that this photo library or photo gallery will be downloaded and added inside our project. And there you can see the library is downloaded and it is now successfully added inside our project. And now let's see the instructions for using this library for both Android and iOS. So open the documentation page of this library and go to this readme section. And there in this section you will see the details for using this library for fetching all the content of user gallery. So firstly we got a section for iOS and then a section for Android. So we need to perform specific operation for iOS and Android so that we can use this library and fetch the images. Like there you can see for iOS iOS, we need to add this key value pair inside our info.plist file. So basically we need to specify that why our application want to access the pictures of gallery. So in the key we are specifying this key, and in the string we need to specify the reason that why our application want to access the images. So here you can simply copy this key value pair and then open our Flutter project. And here you can expand this iOS section, then go to runner, and you will find this info.plist file. And now in the dictionary tag of this info.plist file, we are going to paste that key value pair. After that, if you want, you can improve the spacing. And then in this string tag, you need to specify the reason that why your application want to access the data of user gallery. Like we can say that as it's a gallery application, so it needs to access the media content or the images so that we can show it just like any other gallery application. So you can specify it, but we are leaving it for now. So now after adding this key string pair, open the documentation page again. And now the next section is for Android. So for Android, we need to specify these permissions inside our Android manifest file. So basically we are asking for the external storage permission and the reading media images and media videos. So we are asking for these permissions from the user. So you can copy all these three tags with the name user permissions. And after that, you can open the project and now expand the Android folder, and here inside app go to source, and now inside this main you will find this Android manifest.xml. So just open it, and now in this manifest tag we are going to paste the lines which we copied. And after pasting the lines, you can remove this second line because we have set it to 32, but now the latest version is also available and now we also don't need it, so just remove it. And now everything is good here. So now in Android we are asking for these permissions, and in iOS we have added that key value pair where we are asking for the photo library permission. So these are the steps which we need to take for both Android and iOS for using this library inside our application. And now inside our next lecture, we are going to use this library for fetching the data of user gallery inside our application. And then later we are going to show this data just like the default gallery application. But for now we have added the library successfully inside our Flutter project, and we have set the configurations for both Android and iOS. Welcome to this lecture. So now after adding the library inside our project, the next step is using this library. So now inside this main dot we are going to use this library for fetching the data of users gallery. So how we are going to do that? So at this point inside our main dot we got the code for this counter application. So when you will scroll down, you will find that it contains this stateful widget with the name my home page. And then inside this my homepage state, we got the code for this counter application. So right now we don't need it. So what you can do is to minimize this my homepage and also this my homepage state, and then you can remove both of these classes. And after that you will see this error that this my home page is not available. So we are going to handle it in just a minute, but for now let's create another stateful widget here, and that stateful widget will be for our gallery application. So write STF, which stands for stateful, and then you will see this option new stateful widget. So just press enter and it will gonna create the stateful widget for you, and then you can type the name of your widget here. Like I am going to name this widget gallery home because this will be the home page for our gallery. So gallery home, and now you can see it has written gallery home here and also here. And now we can change this my home page with this gallery home. So write gallery home here and then you can remove this title parameter because we are not taking any parameter here, and that's it. So now at this point, if you are going to hard reload the application, you will see that now the screen contains this, and the reason is for now we have removed the stateful widget which was displaying the counter application here, and we have added this gallery home, and at this current moment in the build method of our gallery home we got this placeholder. So what you can do is to change this placeholder with a scaffold for now. So scaffold, and then you can just leave it empty and then quickly hard reload the application, and now you can see we got this white container here. So now after creating this gallery home stateful widget, inside this gallery home state we are going to use that library and we are going to load the data of user gallery. So when you open the gallery of your mobile device, you will see that at first you will be able to see all the albums. Like there will be an album with the name all which contain all of the images, and then there will be one album for Facebook images and also for WhatsApp. So for each app which we are using, and if that app is creating a folder or an album, you will be able to see that album in your gallery, and you can also create few albums by yourself. So that album page will be the first page of any gallery app. So right now inside our application we are firstly going to load all the albums which are present inside user device. So how we are going to do that? So to do that we are going to create an init state method inside this gallery home state. So this is the first method which will be called once our application is launched. So inside this gallery home state you can type init and you will see this option for init state. So just select it and the method will be added. So now inside this method we are going to load all the albums of user device. So how we are going to do that? So to do that, let's create another method with the name load all albums or load gallery data. So load all albums, and then below this init state I am going to create this method. So here create this load all albums method. And now inside this method we are going to use that photo library and we are going to load all the albums. And to do that you can use that photo gallery class. So you can see this photo gallery, and this is the class which is present inside our photo gallery library. So just select it and then you can use its list album method. So this method will gonna fetch all the albums which are present inside user device and it will gonna return them in the form of list. So select this list albums, and then inside it you can pass few parameters and customize things. Like you can see this parameter medium type. So this parameter will be used if you want to load the albums of particular content. Like if you want to load the albums which contain images only or the videos only, and we are going to explore it later. But for now when we are going to call this method, it will gonna return a list of album. So here what we can do is to assign the result to a list of type album. So list album, and then we can name it albums. And after that we are going to use an await keyword here because this thing will gonna take some time. And when we are using this await keyword we need to make this method asynchronous. So just click on this button and this method will now be asynchronous. So now at this point inside our application, when this gallery home will be visible on screen, this init state method will be called, and inside this method we are calling this load all albums method. And inside this method we are loading the list of albums which are present inside user device. And after getting this list, for now we can just print the results in the logcat or inside the console so that we can confirm that our application is working correctly or not. So to do that, below this albums we are going to use this albums list, and then we are going to call this for each method, or basically we are going to use for each loop for iterating this list of albums. And now in the body of this for each loop we are going to print the information related to each album. Like we can print the name of each album. So here we are going to use this print function, and then inside it we are going to use this element which is actually an object of type album. And then when we are going to add a dot, you can see we can get the name of the album, the media type, ID, count, and also other things. So for now we are going to get the name of the album and we are going to print it. So after that add a semicolon and also add a semicolon here, and that's it. So now after doing this, let's install the application inside this iOS simulator and see whether we are getting the names of all albums printed in the console or not. And if you are going to run the application inside an Android device, then there are chances that you will not gonna get the results printed in the logcat. And the reason is, for now we have added the permissions inside this Android manifest file and inside this info.plist file, but we are not dynamically asking for these permissions here inside our application. So that's why when inside our application we will try to fetch the data of gallery using this photo gallery library, we will not gonna get the data because user have not seen the permissions or he has not granted them yet. So for Android you have to manually give these permissions by going into the setting page of that app, but it will gonna work on iOS or in case of iOS simulator. And inside our next lecture we are dynamically going to ask for those permissions inside our application code, so that when we are going to install the application inside Android or iOS, user will be able to see the dialogues for the permission and he will gonna give those permissions, and after that we will be able to fetch the data with ease. But for now we are going to click on the stop main dot and then we are going to install the application again inside this iOS simulator, because it will gonna work in case of this simulator and we will be able to fetch the albums of this simulator. So let's select it and run the application. So now our application is installed inside this iOS simulator, and there you can see on screen this dialog that our application would like to access your photos. And then we got this message which we have specified inside our info.plist. So there you can see there we specified example usage description. But when you are going to write the reason, this reason will be visible here. So now here you can give this permission like allow access to all photos. And after that when you will check this run section, you can see we got this value all here. And the reason is at this point inside this iOS simulator we got only one album with the name all, and it contained all the images of this iOS simulator. So by looking at this message we can say that our application is working correctly, and for now we are fetching all the albums of user gallery and then we are printing its name inside the logcat. But as I mentioned that at this point we cannot run the application inside Android because there we need to manually give the permissions by going into the settings page of the app. So now inside our next lecture we are going to dynamically ask for the permissions so that we can run the application on Android as well and fetch all the albums which are present inside Android gallery. So see you in the next lecture. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just first part of my complete Build an AI Gallery application in Flutter with Circle to Search feature course. The complete course is about 4 hours long and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee, so you got nothing to lose here. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below and I am offering a discount to first few students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. So now inside our application, let's ask for the permissions dynamically. So what does that mean? So it means that when the user will gonna install the application inside either Android or iOS, he will be able to see the dialogues or the pop-ups for the permissions, and then he can give those permissions, and after that our application can access his data, or we are going to show the data of the gallery. So how we are going to ask for these permissions dynamically? And the answer is we are going to use a package called permission handler. So open your browser and go to pub.dev again. So here I will minimize the simulator, and then you can open this pub.dev inside a new tab, because we also need the documentation of this photo gallery library inside our upcoming lectures, so we are not closing it. So here on pub.dev we can search for permission handler, and in the results you can see this first result. So this is the package which we are going to use. So just open the documentation page and click on installing button, and after that you can copy the dependency for this package, and then you can put it inside our pubspec.yaml file. So below this photo gallery I will paste it, and then click on this pubget, and there you can see the package is downloaded and added inside our application successfully. So after adding this package, open the documentation page and go to readme section, and there when you will scroll down you will see the setup for Android and iOS. So there are few instructions which we can follow, but we don't actually need to follow them because it is already made for almost all the applications, so we can just skip it. And after that you can see this section how to use. So here you can read that how we can ask for the permission, or how we can check for the status of a permission. Like if inside our application we want to access the camera, then we can also check that whether that permission is already granted or not. And to do that we are going to use this permission.camera.status, and after that if status.is denied is true, then it means that we have not asked for the permission yet, or the permission has been denied before. So that's how using this package you can ask for different permissions. And currently this section is for camera, but we are going to ask for the storage permission or for the photos permission. So now inside our application we are going to use this package. So open our application and go to main dot dot. So now at this point inside our application we are calling this load all albums method, and inside this method we are trying to access the albums of user gallery. But before trying to access it we need to ask for the permission, or at least check for the permissions. So if the permissions are granted, then we are going to ask for these permissions, and if these permissions are granted, only then we will gonna try to access the user data. So now inside our application we need to make few changes, and the first change is we are not going to call this load all albums method here, but instead we are going to create a new method, and we can name this method request permissions, and then we are going to call this method here, and inside this method we are going to check for the permissions, and if the permissions are granted, then we are going to call this load all albums method. Otherwise we are going to request for those permissions. So let's create a method here, and we can name this method request permissions. And now in the body of this method we are going to check for the permissions, and if the permissions are not granted, then we need to ask for those permissions. So how we are going to do that? And the answer is we are going to do that using that permission handlers library which we added, and we are going to do it separately for both Android and iOS. So firstly inside this method we are going to add an if statement, and then we are going to check that whether we are running the application on Android or iOS. And to do that we are going to use this platform class, and this platform class is present inside this .io library. So select this platform, and then if we are running it on an iOS, then in the body we are going to check and request for the permissions for an iOS device. And how we are going to do that? So to do that we are going to add another if statement here inside it, and then we are going to check and request for the permissions simultaneously. So for iOS we need either the storage permission or the photos permission, and if any one of these two permissions is granted, then we can access the user data. So firstly, let's check or request for photos permission, and to do that we are going to use this permission class, and it is present inside this permission handler. And then we are going to use photos because we are looking for the photos permission. And after that, if we want to request for the photos permission, then you can use this request function. And then if you want to check that whether that permission is granted or not, then you can use this is granted parameter. So now if this is granted is true, then it means that the photos permission is granted. And if it is not granted, then using this request function, user will gonna see a dialog that he needs to give this photos permission. And here, because of this request function, we need to add an await statement because user will gonna see a dialog and we will be waiting for his response. And when we are adding this await keyword, we need to make our method asynchronous. And that's it. So now inside this if statement, we are checking and requesting for the photos permission. So if this permission is granted, then we can call this load all albums method. So call this method here, and that's it. And now instead of this load all albums inside our init state, we are going to call this request permissions method. And that's it. So now when the application will gonna open, this method will be called, and inside it we are going to check that for iOS if the photos permission is granted, then we are going to call this load all albums method. And if the permission is not granted, because of this request method, user will gonna see a dialog, and if he will gonna give the permission, then again this load all albums method will be called. And in case of iOS, if instead of this photos user have given the permission for storage, then we are going to do the same thing. So what you can do is to copy this line and then add an OR statement, and after that paste the line here. And now here we are going to change this photos with storage. And that's it. So now for iOS, we are checking that if either of the photos or storage permission is granted, then we are going to request for the data. Otherwise, we are not going to ask for the data. And now we are going to handle the case for Android. So add an else if here. So else if the platform dot is Android, then we are going to ask for the photos and storage permission. But for Android, we need to do one more thing, and that is we need to ask for the videos permission separately. So for iOS, we don't need to separately ask for the videos permission, but for Android, we need to do it. So here for Android, you can simply copy this if statement and then put it here inside this else if. And after that, we need to add an AND operator here, and then we are going to request for the videos permission here. So await permissions dot videos dot request dot is granted. And that's it. So now if we are running this application on Android, then we are checking for the photos or storage permission. So if either one of these two permission is granted and the video permission is granted, then we are going to request for the data. And now after adding this code here, we are basically asking for the permissions dynamically inside this application. And now you can run this application inside an Android device, and you will be able to see that we are fetching the albums from the user device successfully and printing the names of the album inside console. So let's run this application inside an Android device. So now I have installed the app inside our Android emulator, and right now you can see this dialog, process is not responding. So that is an error which is only in my computer, so you will not gonna get it. So I will simply click on this wait, and now behind that you will be able to see that dialog which is for the permissions. So there you can see allow access to photos and videos on this device. So I will simply going to allow this permission. And after that, when we are going to check this run section, we should be able to get the name of the album here. So there you can see we got this all, and the reason is right now inside this Android emulator, there is only one album with the name all. But when you are going to install the application inside your real device, you will be able to see all the names of the albums which you got inside your mobile. So now we have set up things correctly for both Android and iOS, and the next step is creating the GUI for our gallery application, and we are going to do that inside our next lecture. So see you in the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to start working on the GUI of our application. So right now inside this application, we just got a scaffold and that scaffold contains nothing. And that's why we are able to see this white screen. But now inside this scaffold, we are going to show an app bar and then we are going to show the name of our app there. And after that we are going to show the albums here on screen. So let's start. So here inside the scaffold, firstly we are going to add an app bar. So set this app bar property, and then inside this constructor we are going to specify few parameters, and the first one is the title. So in the title we are going to pass the text widget, and then we can set the text to like AI gallery. So I will name this app to AI gallery, but you can change the name with any name that you like. And after that press Ctrl S. And now you can see we got this text AI gallery here, and it is because we have added this app bar. And now let's change the background color of this app bar. So we will set this background color property, and we are going to choose this color red. And after that we are going to choose its shade, which is this shade 400. And after specifying the background color, you can see that color here. And after doing this, let's also change the color of our text from black to white. So here we are going to set the style property, and now we are going to use text style here. And inside this text style we are going to use this color property, and we are going to set our text color to white. After that press Command S, and now you can see the text color is changed. So now after adding the app bar inside our scaffold, the next step is showing our albums here inside our application. So we are going to show the image for each album, the name of the album, and the number of images present in that album. So hopefully you have seen your own device gallery. So there in the albums list we got an image for each album, the name and the count. So we are going to do the same thing here. And to do that we are going to set the body property of our scaffold. And now in the body of scaffold we are going to use grid view. So as there will be multiple albums inside our device, so for displaying them we can use list view or grid view. So as gallery items are mostly displayed using grid, so that's why we are going to use grid view here. So we are going to use this grid view dot builder. And now inside this grid view builder we need to specify two parameters. The first one is grid delegate and the second one is item builder. So using this grid delegate we are going to specify the number of items in each row of this grid layout and also the spacing between them. And then by using this item builder we are going to create the items of this grid. So firstly let's set this grid delegate. So we are going to display 3 albums in each row of our grid. So that's why we are going to use silver grid delegate with fixed cross axis count, because using that delegate we can set the number of items for each row. So here type silver grid delegate with fixed cross axis count. So there you can see this option. So just select it, and now inside parentheses we can set this cross axis count property and set it to 3. And that's it. So now after setting this grid delegate, the second parameter is this item builder. So using this item builder we are going to create the GUI for each item of this grid view, or we are going to create the GUI of each album of our gallery application. So here this item builder will gonna take two things as parameter. The first one is the build context, so let's create it and name it CTX. And the second parameter is the index of the item for which the GUI is being created. So let's create the body of this item builder. And now in the body of this item builder, we are going to create the GUI for the album. So for now, let's simply return a container widget here. And then in this container we are going to add a text widget, and then in that text widget we are going to show the name of the album. So here let's set the child property, and then we are going to set this text widget here. And now in this text widget we are going to show the name of the album. And how we are going to do that? So for doing this, we have to set another property of our gradeview.builder, and that is the item count. So here when you will type this item count, you will see this parameter. So here we need to set this item count equal to the count of our albums. But as you can see, we are getting the albums list here, and it is defined inside this method. So we cannot access it inside this build method. So here what we need to do is to declare this albums list above or outside of this method. So above this load all albums, I will gonna simply paste it, and then I will gonna initialize it with an empty list. And after that we can simply remove this declaration from here. So now we are declaring albums list here and initializing it inside this load all albums method. And after initializing it, we should call set state and pass the name of the albums here, so that wherever we are using this albums, the changes will apply. So now after declaring this albums list publicly, we can access it here. So we can set this item count equal to this albums dot length. And the reason is this grid view will gonna display an item for each album which is present inside this list. And after setting this item count here, inside this item builder, we can get the current album using this albums list. So here what you can do is to create a new album object and name it album. And after that, using this albums list, we are going to get the current album. So here we are going to specify the index, which is this one. So use this index here. And now we are getting the current album, and it is named as album. And now here inside this text widget, we are going to show the name of the album. So album dot name, and that's it. So after making these changes, you can simply hard reload our application, and then you should be able to see the names of the albums here. Like there you can see we got the name all and then this test A. So these are two albums which are present inside our iPhone. So that's why we got two here. But if you are using your real device, you will be able to see the names of all albums here. And there will be 3 albums names in a single row. And the reason is we have specified this cross-axis count to 3. So at this point our application is working well. But now in the GUI, instead of showing the name, we are going to display the image of the album first. And after that, we are also going to show the name and the count of the album as well. So for showing the image of the album here, what we can do is to remove this text widget which is present inside this container. And instead, we are going to use a widget called fade in image. So let's remove this text widget from here and add this fade in image here. So as the name suggests, this fade in image is a widget which displays the image with a beautiful transition, which is a fade transition. And it looks good when we are displaying multiple images, just like our use case. So in short words, when we are going to display an image using this fade in image, our image will not be displayed instantly, but it will gonna appear with a beautiful animation. So now inside this fade in image, we need to specify multiple parameters, and the first one is placeholder. So this placeholder is actually the image which will be displayed until our original image has been displayed. And in our case, we are going to set a transparent image as our placeholder. So to specify the transparent image here, we are going to use the memory image, and now inside it we need to pass that transparent image. But the transparent image which which we are going to specify it here, is not natively available in Flutter. So we need to add a library inside our Flutter project, and then using that library we are going to specify the placeholder transparent image for this fade in image widget. So open your browser again and go to pub.dev, and then on pub.dev you can search for that transparent image. So type transparent image and press enter. And now in the search result you can see this first result, this transparent image. So just select it and go to installing section. After that you can simply copy the dependency for this library, and then you can open your pubspec.yaml, and here below this permission handler we are going to paste it. After that click on this pubget, and now this library will be downloaded and added inside our project. So there you can see the library is added. So now after adding the library, open the documentation page of the library and go to the readme section. And there you can see a simple transparent image represented as uint8 list, which was originally extracted from Flutter code base. So to specify this transparent image or use this library, we can use this k-transparent image. So open our project again, and here inside our main dot, now we can pass that k-transparent image inside this memory image. So here type k-transparent image and you will see the options. So there you can see. So just select it and that's it. So now inside this fade in image we have specified our placeholder image, and after that the second thing which we need to pass inside this placeholder image is our actual image or the image of that album. So how we are going to get the image which is representing that album? So this is usually the first image of that album, and to get it we are going to use our photo gallery library. So inside this fade in image the actual image is specified using this image property. So just select it, and now to specify the image of the album or thumbnail image of the album, we are going to use album thumbnail provider class of our photo gallery library. So there you can see this class. So just select it, and now inside this album thumbnail provider we need to specify the album for which we want to get the thumbnail and also the quality of thumbnail. So as we got that album here which is currently selected, so here you can set the album property equal to this album. And after that the second parameter which we can set is the quality. So what you can do is to select this high quality and then set it to true, and by setting it our thumbnail will be of high quality. So let's move this image to a second line so that we can view it better. So now inside this fade in image we have set a placeholder image and then the actual thumbnail image of that album. And after doing this, when you will look at your simulator and then hot reload the application, you can see the images are visible. So these are actually the thumbnail images of both albums which are currently present inside this device. And if you are running it on your actual device, then you will be able to see the thumbnails for all albums which are present inside your device. And these thumbnails are actually the first images of each album. So now inside our application we are showing the thumbnails of albums which are present inside our gallery, but we need to format these thumbnail images so that they will gonna look better, and we are also going to show the name of the album and the number of images present in that album below this image. So now after installing the application inside iOS, I have also installed this application inside an Android emulator, and here we got a lot of albums so that we can clearly see the working of our application. So for testing purposes inside the simulator I have created a number of albums, and you can see their names inside this logcat. So there you can see we are also printing the names of the album, so you can see this all, plants, random, fruits and so on. And similarly now we are showing the thumbnail of each album here. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just first part of my complete build an AI gallery application in Flutter with circle to search feature course. The complete course is about 4 hours long and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So you got nothing to lose here. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below and I am offering a discount to first few students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. So now after showing the thumbnail images here, we also need to display the name of the album and the number of images present inside it. And along with that, we also need to beautify the GUI of this application. So let's firstly do that, and we are going to start by adding the spacing around each image. So right now you can see all the images are quite attached with each other. But now we want to add the spacing between them. And to do that, we are going to use this silver grid delegate with fixed cross-axis count. And before doing it, click anywhere and click on this control click. And after that, select this reformat code with dot format. And it will gonna improve the spacing. And after that, inside this delegate, you will see that we got the parameter with the name main axis spacing and cross axis spacing. So we are going to set the value for these spacing, and that spacing will be added along the rows and the columns. So firstly this main axis spacing, so we will set it to 5, and after that this cross axis spacing, so set it to 5 as well. And after doing this, press Command S. And now you can see a little bit of spacing is added between each item. And after that you can notice that our images are of different sizes and it is not looking good. So now inside a gallery application, all thumbnail images have the same size. So now in order to do this, we need to set a fit property of our fade in image. So here type fit, and then we are going to scale our image using this box fit. So you can see this box fit, and after that add dot. And now you can see the options. So here you can choose different options and check that how our image is looking. But we are going to use this cover option, and when we are going to select it, our image will gonna cover all available space. So after selecting this cover here, press Command S. And now you can see all the images have the same size and our application is looking a lot better. So after improving the visibility of the images, the next step is showing the name of the album and the count as well. So in order to do that, what we can do is to enclose this container inside a column widget, because below this image we want to display the name of the album, and then below that we want to display the count. So that's why we are going to use a column widget here. So click on this container and press Alt plus Enter, and after that you will see this option wrap with column, so just select it. And now you can see our container is inside this column. So now below this container we are going to add a text widget, and then inside that text widget we are going to show the name of the album. So we are going to use this album object, and then we are going to get the name of the album, and after that call to string. And after doing this, press Command S. And there you can see after pressing Command S, we got the names for the album in case of few albums. But for few albums, we are getting the error or overflow error here. And the reason for this thing is the size of some images are large and they are covering the entire area allocated to that particular item of grid view. So now when we are trying to show the name of the album below the image, it is exceeding the space allocated to that particular item. And to tackle this problem, what we can do is to set another parameter inside this grid delegate. So add a comma, and then you will see an option for this parameter, child aspect ratio. So there you can see the aspect ratio is set to 1 here. So it means that by default the width and the height of each child will be equal. But now as we want to display the image in a square manner, and then below image we want to display the name of the album and the count as well. So now we want the height of the item to be greater than the width, because below this image we want to display the name and the count of each album. So here we we are going to set the value for this child aspect ratio, and we are going to change it from 1 to less than 1. Like here we are going to set it to like 0.75, and after that press Command S. And now you can notice that for most of the item the error is gone. But there you can notice after adding this text widget here and putting our container inside a column, the size of some images is again gone small. And to tackle this problem, we are manually going to set the width and the height for each item inside this container. So we are going to set the width and the height property of this container, and to set the correct height and width we are going to calculate that width above. So here inside our build method, you can create a double variable and you can name it image width. And after that we are going to get the width of the screen on which user is running the application. So using this media query dot of context, and then we are going to get the size of the screen using this size object, and after that we can get the width of the screen. So it will gonna return the width of the screen, and now we want to calculate the width of each item. So right now we are displaying 3 items in a row, so we are going to divide it with 3, and it will gonna give us the width for each item. But as you can notice that we are also adding a spacing of 5, so we also need to subtract that value before dividing it with 3. So here we are going to subtract the value like 15, and then we are going to divide it with 3, and it will gonna give us an estimate for the width of each item. And here it is not necessary that you are going to subtract 15, but you can also increase or decrease this value. But I have done a rough estimate, and that's why I am subtracting 15 here, because I am adding a spacing of 5 after each item. So now after calculating this image width, we are going to pass it inside our container, so image width. And then we are also going to set the height of the image to same value, so here we can set the height equal to image width as well. And after that press Command S, and now you can see the sizes of all images are same again, and below each image we are displaying the name of the album as well. And now you can scroll and you will not gonna see the error for any album here. So now after displaying the name of the album, we also want to display the count of the album. But before that, let's format this name a little. Like here, we don't want to display this name in the center, but we want to display it in the left corner. And to do that, you can enclose this text widget inside an align widget. So wrap with widget, and then type the name of this align widget. And after that, we are going to set the alignment property. And here we can set this alignment equal to center left. So there you will see this option for center left, so just select it. And after that press Command S. And now you can see the names of all items move to the left. And after that, if you want to increase the size of the text as well, then you can set the style property. So set style, and then inside text style we are going to change the style of the text. Like here we are going to set the font size equal to 16 for our name. So here set this font size to 16 and press Command S. And now you can notice the text size is increased a little. So now after displaying the name of the album, below that we want to display the count of the album. And to do that, let's firstly format the code again so that we can see things clearly. And now we are going to copy this align or text widget and paste it below. So below this align we are going to paste it again, and this time inside this text widget we are not going to display the name of the album, but we are going to display the count of the album. So you can see this count property for each album, and then we are displaying it. And for this count we are going to set this text size equal to 12, and after that press Command S. And now you can see below each album name we are also getting the number of items that album contain. And at this point you can notice that the images on the left and right sides are too close to the edges. And to tackle this problem, what we are going to do is to enclose this grid view inside a container widget. And then we are going to set the padding or the margin for this container so that our items or our whole grid view will gonna have spacing to the left and to the right. So here enclose it with the container, and then we are going to set the margin property. So here select edge inset dot only, and now we are going to select the margin for the left, so set it to 3 or 5, whatever you need. And after that also set the right margin to 3 as well, and now press Command S, and there you can see a little bit of spacing is added to the left and to the right. And if you also want to add it to the top, then you can also set it to 3 or 5 or whatever value. So these are actually little customizations which you can do by yourself. But now you can see our application is looking a lot better because we are displaying the thumbnail for each album, the name of the album, and the count for each album as well. But there you can see the thumbnail images for each album has sharp corners. So now if you want to make the corners a little bit rounder so that they will gonna look good, then what you can do is to enclose this container widget which is containing our fade in widget inside a clip or rect widget, and using it we can make our corners a little bit rounder. So click on this container and then press Alt plus Enter, and after that select the wrap with widget, and then we are going to select this clip or rect. And after that inside this widget we can set the border radius property, and then we are going to select this border radius to circular, so border radius dot circular, and here you can specify the radius, that how much you want to make the corners rounded. Like here we are going to set it to 10, then press Command S. And there you can see now inside our application the corner for each image is rounded a little, and our application is looking good. And now inside our next lecture we are going to make this album item clickable, so that when the user will gonna click on it, we will move to another screen where we are going to display the images of that particular album. So we are going to do that thing inside our next lectures. So see you in the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. So till this point inside our application you can see we are displaying the thumbnail image for each album, and then also the name and the number of items in each album. And now we are going to take one step further, and that is when the user will gonna click on any album, then we are going to show all images of that album. So to do that we are going to create another screen inside our application, and that screen will be opened when the user will gonna click on any of the albums. So let's start doing it. So go to our lib folder, and there you can see we only got our main dot dot. But now inside it we are going to create another screen or another dot file. So here go to new and then select this dot file, and we can name this dot file album page, because that will be the page or the detail page for each album. So album page. After that press enter, and you can see our album page is created. And now inside it we are going to create another stateful widget. So type STF and you will see this option, so just select it. And now we are going to name it album page. And after that we need to add the import for few libraries, like click on this stateful widget and press Alt plus Enter. So you need to see we need to import this library. So now you can see we have created another page or another stateful widget with the name album page. And now to this album page we are going to pass the album which user have selected or clicked on it. So here inside this album page we are going to take a parameter of type album. So what you can do is to firstly create an album parameter here. So as we have seen that album is actually a data model class which is present inside our photo gallery library. So we are going to create an object of type album here. And after that in the constructor of this album page we are going to remove the super dot key, and instead we are going to take this album as a parameter. And after that you can remove this const, because now we are taking a variable as a parameter inside this album page. So now after creating this album page inside our main dot dot, we are going to detect when the user is clicking on any of the items. So right now each item is actually present inside this grid view. So now inside this grid view for each item we got this container which contain all the sub widgets. So now we are going to enclose this container inside an ink inkwell widget, and this inkwell widget provides us a method to detect gestures on a particular widget. Like here select inkwell, and after that inside this inkwell we can add an on tab, on long press, on tab cancel, and a number of other methods. But we are interested in this on tab because we want to detect when the user is clicking on any of the items. So now in the body of this on tab we are simply going to pass the current album or the selected album to our album page. So here to move to that page we are going to use our navigator class. So navigator dot of context, and then we are going to call its push method, and inside this push method we are going to pass material page route, and then inside it we need to specify this builder. So this builder will gonna take context as a parameter, and then in the body of this builder we are going to specify the name of the screen or our stateful widget where we want to move to. So here we are going to specify our album page, so album page, and now inside this album page we need to specify the album. So as our currently selected album or the album on which user clicked is stored inside this variable named as album, so we are simply going to pass this album here, and after that you need to add a semicolon here and also here. And here we are forgetting to add return keyword before this album page, and that's it. So now after doing this, whenever user is clicking on any of the item, we will gonna move to this album page and we are going to pass the album object on which user clicked to that album page as well. So now after doing this, let's quickly run our main.dart again. So now our application is refreshed or it is installed again. So let's click on any album, like I will click on this all. And after that you can see our screen changed, and the reason is right now we are inside our album page, and inside the GUI of this album page we are only displaying this placeholder. But we have confirmed one thing, that now we are moving from our home page to this album page, and now inside this album page we are going to display all images of that particular album. So how we are going to do this? So in order to show the images of the albums, we need to firstly create the GUI of our album page. So just like our home screen, we are going to add a scaffold and then an app bar. And after that, in the body of that scaffold, we are going to add a grid view. But now in that grid view, we are going to show the images of that album, not the albums list. So the things are quite similar to our home screen. So what we can do is to copy the content of build method of our home screen. So here you can simply minimize this scaffold, and after that you can copy it. And after that you can open this album page, and here you can simply replace this placeholder with the code that you copied. And after pasting the code here, you will gonna see a lot of errors here. So firstly click on this app bar and press Alt plus enter. So we need to import this material.dart library, so just import it and most of the errors are gone. And after that you can notice that in the app bar we are displaying the AI gallery. But now we are not going to show the AI gallery in the app bar, but instead we are going to show the name of the album. So in order to access the name of the album, we are going to use this dot widget, and after that we can access that album object which we got here. And after getting this album object, we are going to show its name. So get the name and then call this toString, and that's it. So now in the app bar the album name will be visible, but at this point we cannot run our application because there are a lot of errors. So we need to handle those errors first. So let's look at them one by one. So there you can see the first error is inside this grid view dot builder, because here we are trying to access this albums list, but this list is not there. So now here instead of this albums list, we are going to use the list of images which are present in that album. So how we are going to get those images? So in order to get the list of images which are present inside this album, we are going to add another init state method inside our album page. So here add an init state method, and now inside this init state we are going to call another method, and that method will be load media. So this is the method which we are going to create right now. So below this init state create this load media method, And inside this method we are going to load the list of images present in that album. So here we can access our album using this dot widget dot album, and then look at the properties. So there you can see there is this thing called list media inside this album, so you can just simply select it. So this list media will actually going to return an object of type media page. So as it's a future object, so we need to add an await keyword here. So before this line, add an await keyword, and then we are going to assign the result to an object of type media page. So create this media page object and name it media page and assign the result to it. So now you can see this error, and that is because we need to make our method asynchronous. So now inside this load media function we are loading the media of that album, and it is returning us this media page. And now let's explore this media page. So write this media page and add a dot, and there you can see this media page contains this item list, and it is actually a list of type medium. And here inside this list of medium, each medium object is representing an image. So it contains the path of that image and also the properties of that image. So now we are interested in inside this items property because it is the list of media, so just access it. And we are going to assign this mediums list to an object of type medium list. So above this load media, create a list of type medium, and this medium is similar to our album object and it is present inside our photo gallery. And then we can name it medium list, and after that you can simply initialize it. And then we are going to assign the result of media page.item to this medium list, so just simply do that. And after that we need to write this medium list inside a set state block so that wherever we are using it the changes will apply. And we are going to use this medium list wherever we are using this list of albums. So firstly we are going to change this album with medium list, and now it will gonna return an object of type medium. So change this album with medium, and if you want you can also change this album with medium or media as well. So change it to medium, and that's it. So now after doing that you can see the next error is because of this on tab. So right now you can simply comment it because we are going to come back to it later. And after that you can see inside our code the next error is for this image width. So we did not copy the declaration of this image width from our main dot dot. So just simply copy it and then put it inside our album page in the start of our build method, and this error will be gone. And there you can see that. And after that the next error is for this transparent image. So just simply import the library and this error will be gone as well. And now the next error is for this album thumbnail provider. So right now inside our album page we are not going to display the thumbnail of the album, but instead we are going to show the thumbnail for each image. So here you can simply remove this album from this album thumbnail provider, and then inside this thumbnail provider we need to specify few parameters, and the first one is the medium ID. So this medium ID is the unique ID assigned to each media item or each image or video. So here using our current medium object we can get the ID, so just specify it. And after that you can also specify the medium type, which is representing the type of content this medium object contain. So it can be a video or an image. So here using our medium object and then using this medium type we can get the type, and that's it. So now inside our album page, instead of displaying the thumbnail of album, we are displaying the thumbnail of the image. And after doing this, you can see we got the errors for the name and the count of the album as well. So right now we can simply remove it because now we are not going to display the name of the image or the count here. And after that we need to resolve this error by replacing this albums with our media list. And that's it. So now after making these changes you can simply hard reload our application or press Command S, or actually we have to click on this run button, so just click on it. And now our application is refreshed, so click on this first album again. And now you can see upon clicking on this album, our images which are present in that album are being displayed here. And the images are being displayed beautifully because we are using fade in widget to display the images. And that widget is not just showing the images instantly, but it is loading them with a transition. So now let's quickly review the things which we have done inside this album page. So firstly, we created this stateful widget, and inside it we are getting the album object. So this is the album on which user clicked. And after getting this album object inside our init state, we are calling this load media. And inside this function, we are loading the medium item or the media list from that particular album. And we are storing it inside a list of type medium. So after getting the list of medium or the list of images or the content present in that album, inside the GUI, we are firstly displaying the app bar. And in the app bar, we are displaying the title of the album. So there you can see this all. And after that, in the body of the scaffold, we are showing a grid view, but this time this grid view is displaying the items of that media list. And then for each content or for each item of that media list, we are creating the GUI here. So here we are displaying the thumbnail image for each item which is present inside that list. And to display the thumbnail image, we are using this thumbnail provider, and inside it we are passing the ID for that object and the media type. So that's how we are displaying the images present inside each album. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just first part of my complete Build an AI Gallery application in Flutter with Circle to Search feature course. The complete course is about 4 hours long, and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion, which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee, so you got nothing to lose here. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below, and I am offering a discount to first few students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. So now till this point inside our application, we are showing the albums of our gallery, and then we are also showing the images present in a particular album. But there you can notice that inside our application, the heading in the app bar is not in the center, and also this button color is black. So now we are going to fix these small things, and then we are also going to test the application on iOS simulator. So as right now we are inside this album page, and there we got the app bar. And now to make this title center, you can set a property of app bar, and that is named as center title. So just set it to true and then press Command S. And after that you can see our title is now in the center. And now if you want to change the color of this default icon which is present in the app bar, then you can set a property called icon theme. And here we need to pass an object of type icon theme data. And inside it we can set this color property. So now if we want to set the color to white, then we will simply going to pass white here. And after that, let's simply press Command S. And now you can see the color of this back icon is also changed. And now we need to do the same on home screen. So here we need to center this AI gallery. So go to main dot dot, and here after this background color in the app bar, set this center title to true. After that, press Command S, and now you can see our title is in the center. And after testing the application on Android, let's test the current progress on iOS as well. So here I will gonna select this iPhone 14 Pro Max, and then I am going to install the application on this particular device. So now our application is also installed on iOS, and in iOS we only got 2 albums, so there you can see the picture of the album, the name and the count. So let's go to this first album, and here we should be able to see the images. So there you can see, we can see these images. So it means that our application is working perfectly in iOS as well along with Android. Welcome to this lecture. So now we have completed the album page of our gallery application. And after that, the next step is implementing our image view page. So basically right now inside this album page, user can see the list of images or the thumbnail of images which are present inside any album. But now if the user want to view any image, he need to simply click on that image and we should show him that image. So now we are going to do that thing. And to do that, we are going to add another dot file inside our application code. So click on this lib folder and then press Ctrl click. After that, go to new and here select this dot file. And now we can name this file viewer page. After that, press enter and this dot file is added. And inside it, we are going to add another stateful widget. So type stf and you will see this option. So press enter. And now let's name it viewer page. And after entering the name, we need to add the import. So click on this stateful widget and press Alt plus enter and you will see this option. So import this library and the error is gone. So now we have created this viewer page and inside it, we are going to show the image to the user in large size. And inside this page, we are going to take one parameter in the constructor and that parameter will be the image object which we want to show. Or in other words, inside our album page, you can see that we are representing our images or showing them using this list of medium. And here this medium is an object which is representing each individual image present inside our gallery. So now on whatever image user have clicked here inside this album page, we are going to pass the medium object of that image to our viewer page. And then inside our viewer page, we are going to use that medium object and show that image to the user. So here inside our viewer page, we are going to create an object of type medium and we can simply name it medium. And after that, in the constructor of this viewer page, remove this super dot key and then we are going to take this object as parameter. And after that, you can simply remove this const from here. And now we need to add the import for this medium. So you can see this option, import package photo library. So click on it and the error is gone. So now inside this page, we are taking this medium object and it is representing the image on which user have clicked. And after creating this viewer page inside our album page, we need to open this page whenever user is clicking on any image. And to do that, we have to write the code inside this onTab method. So basically this inkwell is the parent widget for each children which is present inside this grid view. So whenever user will gonna click on it, this onTab method will be executed. And inside it, using this navigator, we are going to move to our viewer page. So here we got this album page class, so you can simply change it with viewer page. So you can see this option, so press enter and this viewer page is added. And inside it, we are going to pass the medium object. And we got that medium object here. So just simply pass it and that's it. So now after doing this, let's click on this run main dot dot button. And our application will be refreshed. After that, go to first album and here click on any image like this first one. And there you can see upon clicking on it, our screen is changed and now we are inside this viewer page. And at the current moment inside this viewer page, we are displaying this placeholder. So that's why you are able to see this. But now we are going to add the GUI for our viewer page. So now we are going to build the GUI for our viewer page. So firstly, inside this build method, we are going to change this placeholder with the scaffold. And we have done this thing for our album page as well and also for our home page. So change it with scaffold and then inside scaffold, we are going to add an app bar. And the app bar related code can be copied from this album page. So go to album page and here copy this app bar related code. After that, simply open this viewer page and replace this app bar with the code that we copied. And after pasting the code here, you can notice this error. And it is because inside our album page, we got the album object and we are using it to display the name of the object. But now we got the medium object, and now by using this medium object, we can show the name of the image in the app bar if we want to. So just simply change this album with medium, and after that inside this medium, we can get the image name using this file name property, and that's it. So now inside scaffold we got this app bar, and that app bar is showing the name of the image. So after doing this, simply press command S, and now you can see we got the app bar here and it is showing the name of the selected image here. So now after adding the app bar, the next step is showing our image inside this scaffold. But before doing that, we need to get our image in the form of file format. So right now we got the image in the form of this medium object. So now from this medium object, we can get our image in the form of file object. And to do that, what you can do is to add an init state method here, and then inside it you can create a method and name it with any name that you like, but I will name it load image file. And after calling this method here, we are going to create it below this init state, so load image file. And then inside this method, we are going to use this medium object which we are taking as a parameter. So this dot widget dot medium. And then if you want to get the file object from this medium object, then we can use this get file method. And this method will gonna return our image in the form of file object. So here we can assign this file object to a variable of type file, and we can create this variable here. So create a variable file and name it image file. And after that, add the import for this file. So press alt enter and import this .io. And here you can add a late keyword or make this file nullable. So here add a question mark and the error will be gone. And now inside this load image file, we are going to assign the result to this image file. And after that, we need to add an await keyword here because this thing will gonna take some time. And after adding this await keyword, we need to make our method asynchronous, and that's it. So now inside our viewer page, when this init state method will be called, inside it we are calling this load image file, and inside it we are getting the image which user have selected in the form of file object, and then we are storing it inside this image file variable. So now after getting this image file, we can simply display it in the body of our scaffold. So here in the app bar, add a body parameter, and then inside it you can add a center widget for now, and later we are going to remove it. And then inside the center widget we can add another image widget. So here we are going to use this image.file, and then inside it we are going to use this image file variable which we created. And here you can see this error, and the reason is this image file can be null. So here what you can do is to check that if it is null or not. So inside the center widget we can check that if this image file is not null, only then we are going to use or show the image. Otherwise we are simply going to show a container. And after that, add a not null insertion. So by doing this, we have made sure that if this image file is not null, only then we are going to show the image widget. Otherwise we are displaying this container widget. And after doing this, inside our load image file method, we need to call setStateBlock and pass our image file variable here, and that's it. So basically inside this method, once we are going to get our image in the form of file object, we need to notify the UI that wherever we are using this image file variable, the changes will apply. And we are using it here, so now our UI will be refreshed and our image will be visible once it is converted into a file format. So now after doing this, what you can do is to click on this run button and our application will be refreshed. And here click on this first album and then click on this first image, and now you can see the image is being displayed here. Similarly, go back and select any other image like this one and now you can see it is also being displayed in the center, and you can do it for any image which we got inside our application GUI. So at this point inside our application we are displaying the selected image inside our application. Welcome to this lecture. So starting from this lecture, we are going to implement the second part of our application, and that is circle to search. So inside this application, we want to add the feature that user can draw a circle around any object using his finger. And after that, we are going to search for the item which is present in that circle and show results to the user. So that is our ultimate goal. So how we are going to implement this circle to search feature inside this application? So the whole process of circle to search can be divided into three important parts. And the first part is adding the feature that user can draw a circle around any object on an image inside our application. And after that, the second part is cropping that portion of image where user have drawn the circle. And then the third part is searching for the item which is present in that circle. So now we are going to start the first part, which is drawing the circle around any object on this image using his finger. So how we are going to do this? So to do this, we are going to use a widget called signature, and it is present inside a library called Flutter signature pad. So we are going to add that library inside our project, and then by using it, we are going to add the functionality that user can draw anything on this image using just his finger. So let's start it. So firstly, open pub.dev and here search for signature pad. So press enter and look at the search result, and there you can see this result, Flutter signature pad. So click on it and the documentation will be opened, and here go to installing section and then copy the dependency. After that, open our application and put it inside our pubspec.yaml file. So below this transparent image, I will simply paste it. And after that, click on this pubget so that the library will be downloaded and added inside our project. And there you can see it is downloaded and added. So now after adding the library, we can use that signature widget inside our application GUI. But where inside our application GUI we are going to put that signature widget? And the answer is we are going to put that signature widget exactly where we are showing that image. So basically, firstly we are going to show the image, then exactly at the same position where we are showing that image, we are going to show that signature widget. And as the signature widget is transparent, so it will not gonna affect the look of our image. But when user will gonna move his finger on screen on this image, a line will be drawn wherever he is moving his finger. Or in other words, then user can just draw a circle using his finger on that image. So in short, to implement it, we are going to put that signature widget exactly at the same position where we got our image widget. So how we are going to do this? So in order to do this, what you need to do is to put a stack widget inside the body of our scaffold. So here click on the center widget and press Alt plus enter, and then select this wrap with row, and now it is wrapped with row, so just change this row with stack. So now we have put our image or center widget inside this stack. And now inside this tag, after the center widget, we can add that signature widget. So type signature and you will see this option for the signature widget, which is present inside this Flutter signature pad. So just add it. And after adding it, what you need to do is to click on this top main dot and then install the application again. And the reason is we have added a new library, so it's important to install the application again so that we can use this library inside our application. And our application will be installed again inside the simulator in just a minute. So now our application is installed again, so open this first album and then this first image. And now you can see our image is being displayed just like earlier. But now when you are going to move the cursor, you can see a line is being drawn wherever I am moving the cursor. and it is because of the signature widget. So basically in the GUI of our application, now we got the signature widget inside this tag. So wherever you are going to move your cursor, a line will be drawn on the signature widget. So now by using the signature widget, user can just simply draw a circle around any object which is present inside this image. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just first part of my complete Build an AI Gallery application in Flutter with Circle to Search feature course. The complete course is about 4 hours long and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee, so you got nothing to lose here. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below and I am offering a discount to first few students. And now let's continue to the next lecture.